What up, y'all? It's your man, Abuamerican. Gotta excuse the background in the room here. This is my most unrenovated room in my apartment, so that's gonna be a video on its own. I'm sitting in front of that light so it doesn't make a funky look. Me doing some handiwork. I think every man should be able to do handiwork on his own, so I'm gonna show you guys how to hook a place up in a very original and unique way. But need some time. It's a big place for me. Anyway, as you guys know, I was exploring this entire concept and idea that women might use rape as a reproductive strategy, that they will put themselves in positions of danger, probably as a proceptive state within a reproductive cycle, meaning when she's actively seeking sex. Maybe it's a woman with low value. She doesn't get a lot of male attention. One can speculate, one can make all sorts of hypotheses and theories as to why a woman would do this, because sometimes it's highly attractive women. Maybe it's because those highly attractive women have a difficult time finding dominant men because men are intimidated by her beauty. I don't know. Pure speculation. But here's what's not speculation. Focus off. Here's what's not speculation. That there is science to back my hypothesis, which I didn't know. Buddy of mine, I don't know if I was in connection to the videos or not, sent me this link. And it's research by Dr. Raj Persaud and Dr. Jenny Bavona, and it is called Women's Sexual Fantasies, the Latest Scientific Research. Link to the article be in the description box. So, I'm just going to take out small snippets of this. I'm not going to read the entire article to you, but you can go and find it yourself. A team of psychologists led by a woman has uncovered some surprising findings on one of the most secret aspects of female sexual fantasy. While almost everyone has sexual fantasies, previous research into the subjects has found between 31 and 62% of women have rape fantasies. To be sexually aroused by such an imagined scenario presents a psychological mystery. Mystery, like I said, one can only speculate. Why fantasies about a criminal act, which is in reality repulsive and harrowing. I'm sorry, apologies. Why fantasize about a criminal act which in reality is repulsive and harrowing? So skipping through the report, later on, coming down to the brass tacks and the data, it says, the results of the study, which also explored other sexual and aggressive fantasies, self-esteem, attitudes towards sex, and other personality testings, are that 52% of the women had fantasies about forced sex by a man. 32% had fantasies about being raped by a man. 28% forced oral sex by a man, 16% forced anal sex, 24% incapacitated, 17% forced sex by a woman, 9% raped by a woman, 9% forced oral sex by a woman. Overall, 62% reported having at least one of these fantasies. 62%. Now, if you know anything about statistics and data, 62%, that's just overwhelming. That's just... Anyway. Unequivocally clear that this is something going on biologically in a significant number of women. Later on in the report, this is important. Now we're going to get a lot of feminists probably coming out with some sort of rationalizations, hamsterizations as to why this happens, and they actually cover this here. So this is the part where they cover and they rule out certain aspects of mentality. According to this study entitled Women's Rape Fantasies, an empirical evaluation of the major explanations, a previous common psychological theory as to why women should fantasize about rape. Let me pause right there. A previous common psychological theory as to why women should fantasize about rape. So this study has been done before. This is a phenomenon known within women for quite some time. We're just figuring it out. I figured it out on my own, and these people knew it. Obviously, this isn't common knowledge. Maybe they don't want this type of information to get out. Continuing with the article. Fantasize about rape before sex was termed sexual blame avoidance. This theory was about women avoiding taking responsibility for sexual desires. The hypothesis argued that women have been socialized by our culture to work hard at not being perceived as promiscuous or overly sexual. For example, stigmatizing labels such as tramp and slut are invoked, which control or restrict female sexuality. Sexual blame avoidance theory argues that for some women, therefore, fantasies of consensual sex could generate self-blame, guilt, and anxiety. So, By letting the fantasy take the form of rape, the woman in the fantasy is being forced to do something she doesn't want to. It follows then that she can't be blamed for the occurrence of sex. In contrast to a consensual sexual fantasy, a forced sex theme enhances sexual gratification by allowing the fantasizer to avoid blame and guilt. Key line here. The results of this study found no support for this theory. Abuamerican rests his case. I'm getting good at picking up this stuff on women. I didn't know this research existed. I didn't know there was an entire mentality behind it. I didn't know that this is existing research that's been around for quite some time. I'm going to have to find this stuff because obviously you can't find, the books and the research material on Amazon or any other, Barnes and Noble because I've been looking. So, yeah. I love being right. It's just weird that I'm right in this regard. Anyway, so it would appear that in a significant number of women, rape is a consistent obsession, maybe? I don't know. And it could probably be an obsession that comes from biology. I don't know. It definitely I don't think it's just socialized mentality. I think it's definitely something biological because like I said, it doesn't make sense that a lot of women, understanding that we live in a savage society despite all the trappings of modernity and civilization, we have savages amongst us and everyone knows this. So why they constantly and consistently put themselves in dangerous situations where they understand and know that harm could come to them either entirely, in a sense, when I say entirely, that you could lose your life, or partially in terms of sexuality, being raped. It doesn't make sense. So unless it's a biological function that we haven't discovered the mechanics behind and its origins in terms of anthropological development over generations. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you think. This is your man, Abuamerican. Catch me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All at Abuamerican. I'm out.